Welcome to the Three Rivers Podcast. I'm your host, Cruz Shoemaker, here with Andrew Singo.
What's up, everybody?
This is episode 2. We woke up every morning, the last couple mornings now, looking at our milk cartons that say, "Help, Wanted," and it shows a picture of Sidney Crosby, Jake Gensel in their Batman and Robin outfits. They're not found for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now, so the Pittsburgh Penguins find themselves down 3-0 to the New York Islanders in the first round of the NHL playoffs. That's not good. We also, though, will talk about a team that's a little bit on the uprise, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They find themselves at 8-6 right now, taking 2 out of 3 from Washington last week. And then also the major story coming out of the weekend, Waffle House waitresses, look out. Tiger Woods is back, winning 81st PGA Tour victory, 15th major during the 83rd Masters tournament, outlasting a star-studded field of Xander Schauffele, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Tony Finau, Francisco Molinari, and others in company. We're going to start here with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Andrew, what do you think? I mean, Penguins find themselves surprisingly down 3-0 in the series. That's not very good. Not looking good for them to move forward. What are your thoughts?
I mean, what's kind of sad is that I guess what's actually good is at least we're not Tampa Bay. Because so if we get swept, but if Tampa gets swept, we don't look as bad.
True.
I mean,
hide behind the.
Well, it's not good. It's not good either way. It's really an embarrassment, probably because the Islanders might be one of the best coach teams, but they have the least amount of talent of any team, I think, in the playoffs.
No, I think that's where the surprising thing for me is the fact that the Penguins, I didn't expect to see them down 3-0. I could see 2-1. Wouldn't be surprising to me right now, but 3-0, I didn't see that coming at all because I thought, the star power they had, that they would outscore them enough in a game to at least win one. And I think game one's the crucial game that they missed the boat on. I think game one, if they find the back of the net once or twice there, could be talking a different story. Let's recap the games, though, real quick. So game one, Penguins lose to the Islanders 4-0 in overtime. Kessel and Malkin, though, both scored in that game, which was positive. Then the Islanders, Nick Leddy scored with, I think, 7 minutes, 25 seconds remaining. Looking kind of dire then for the Penguins, but Justin Schultz, my man, my boy, Justin Schultz coming up and ties the game, a minute 30 left. Pretty impressive. Now, here's where I thought the game takes a weird change. Whenever they do get that goal with a minute left, you should take that momentum into overtime and be able to pull the game off, in my opinion. And then quickly into overtime, Barzal comes down and just kind of does whatever he wants. Skates, zigzags in between, dekes around, no one even close to defending him. All the defenders leave him wide open. Takes the shot, rebound, lays there, and then I think Josh Bailey cleans it up for the win. So game one didn't go well, obviously, for Pens fans, but you bounce back game two, correct? They're going to come out and take it and get the series back to tie, but game two recap is not looking very good. They lose to the Islanders 3-1. They're only goals by Goodbranson. I mean, that's not very good. The Islanders' goals were Bailey, Bellivier, and Eberle. So, game two was rough, though. You only get a goal by Goodbranson.
They had 6 or 7 penalties they took that game.
They did kill 5 of 6 power plays, but then did have 2 to try to converted on none. And then game 3, Islanders 4, Pens 1. Pens only goal coming from Garrett Wilson. Again, another guy that is great that you get a goal from someone like Goodbranson and Garrett Wilson, but then you don't capitalize and get any stars on the score sheet. Like, that's not good. And then Eberle, Nelson, Komarov, and Anders Lee score the goals for the Islanders. Let's talk about game one, though. Game one, I thought was actually a pretty equal game. I thought a lot of good energy from the Penguins, led by McCann and Bukestad in that one in terms of energy guys. Like I said, get goals by Kessel and Malkin, they don't win. I mean, that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, that I agree that, like you said, that was the kind of like their best chance. That game they let slip through their fingers. They actually did have a little bit of energy and pep that game. There was a portion, I think, in the second period where I thought they carried play for a long stretch of time, just couldn't get one in the back of the net. Then the Islanders started, it was it was a back and forth game and everything, but that was the one where I thought, we score at the end of the game. I thought, here we go, it's game over. We're going to go right into overtime and win it.
Right. No, that's, in my opinion, when Schultz scores with a minute 30 left, you got to take that energy and be able to finish that game. And then overtime, the way they let Barzal just kind of do whatever he wanted there. And I mean, it's an ugly play. He just skates down. the defenseman cuts to the middle. The second defenseman doesn't know what to do because I think someone was crashing the back door, so they just literally let him deke Murray, and he actually, I think, beats him and hits the post. And then the rebound lays wide open net, and Bailey makes a nice shot. And then obviously the Penguins are going to whine that there's maybe goalie interference to try to save their day, but there was nothing there to change that one. So yeah, game one was the game they needed to win. I think if they're sitting at 2-1 right now, it's not that big of a deal. Just win the next one. It's tied. You go back, to the island and have to try to take one on the island to go up 3-2 or something. But 3-0, I don't know. It's not good. We'll talk about game two a little bit. My thoughts on game two. The Penguins did generate opportunities, but it just didn't look like they were in the same realm offensively, though. It just looked like they were losing offensive rhythm. Like I said, they're only goals by Branson. I mean, if you get a goal by Branson, you'd think, well, Crosby and Malkin, or they're a point per game type of guy. This should be a three-goal game easy by them, and instead they only have one, and the Islanders have three instead. And the Islanders, again, Trotz, the way he plays against the Penguins, he just looks for Penguins to make mistakes and their guys to capitalize and score, and their guys have been. They've been capitalizing on 2-on-1s or guys on the back door. They've been squeaking it through the holes, and they're the ones converting the chances. The Penguins, when they do get any kind of chances, are not converting at all. Your thoughts on game two, Andrew?
I thought it seemed kind of like we reverted to our pre-16 team days where we let a lesser team get under our skin.
Very Dan Bylsma-esque.
Right, where I thought we were over those days where we had to worry about
I agree.
Chris Letang losing his head, guys taking stupid penalties.
Yeah.
When you have these guys that are veterans that have won 2-3 cups, depending on the guys, and yet these young, feisty Islanders that don't have the same talent level of the Penguins, but have the coaching.
And they're kind of doing the Flyer-esque.
Right, like they have the Flyer blueprint of
just
piss. If you piss the Penguins off, see, I thought any team tries that works in the Penguins' favor.
Sure.
Because I thought Columbus, we used to try that, and I thought the Penguins learned their lesson.
Agreed.
But apparently, we're reverting back to the old days. I don't know. It blows my mind that they've shut Crosby and Gensel down. I don't even know how.
Right.
They literally don't have a point over 3 games.
Right. I agree 100% there. When the Islanders are coming around and starting the little scrums, they're not just skating away and saying, well, we'll just beat you on the power play or something. They're engaged in each scrum and throwing their little, wussy arm hits at them. And the Penguins aren't built to be an aggressive team. Like when I turn on Boston and Toronto, those two teams want to kill each other. So when they hit each other and they're scrumming, it makes sense. They fucking hate each other.
Right.
The Penguins don't really actually hate the Islanders.
The Islanders feel like a little brother. You're like, you guys are over there. Okay, we're going to go win cups. But now it's like little brother's like, hey, fuck you. And we're just like, well, I guess that's cool.
Right. No, that's if it's even the Capitals or the Flyers or even Columbus, I understand scrummy stuff happening and them being engaged in it because there is a hate there. It's the fucking Islanders.
Right. They don't have Trevor Gillies anymore.
Right. Like,
Eric Tangrady isn't dead in the corner.
Right. Just skate away, beat them on the power play, a different story. But instead, they find themselves in a really tough situation. And then, game 3, Penguins just got smacked, in my opinion. They got smacked.
It's the typical Sunday afternoon game.
Yes. Now, we were riding home from our golf trip, and I said I hate when the Penguins play a midday game because it seems like they just have no energy.
It's like how I feel.
That forever. Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's been like that forever.
As long as I can remember.
Organization, since they've had Crosby Malkin era, it just seemed like they played no energy during the day. They need their Crosby and Malkin are so wired, I guess, to their routines. They need their perfect sleep, their perfect meal, their pasta before the game, or else they play bad. And I thought they also got to a point in the game where they were very aggressive defensively, giving up the odd man rushes. Not paying attention to details. There's guys just standing wide open on the back door during that game, and they just didn't care. They just pass it over, let them shoot, whatever. And also, I think, Trotz is he's learned how to, punch Sullivan right in the face right now, and Sullivan has no answer. He has no idea, I don't think, how to change a game plan to fit it. In my opinion, if the Penguins want to get back in this series, all they have to do is kind of play the Islanders game against the Islanders and try to win the game 1-0, 2-1 at this point. They need to play like they did down that stretch when Letang was out, Schultz was out, and they had Gabranson and these guys in there. They played a different style defensively, and I thought they learned that they should play that way. But apparently, when the playoffs started, and to give Sullivan credit, he did win the cup back to back with that style. So I understand it would be hard if I'm coaching a team that has success 2 straight years. I'm probably going to still try to coach that same style. And I think Sullivan, though, unfortunately now hopefully learns that they have to adjust a little bit to fit the actual build of their team. They're not built like the 16, 17 Penguins anymore. And hopefully makes the adjustments. I mean, what's your thoughts with game three and what they can do to bounce back?
Like I said, it was the typical like everyone got the Sunday scaries where we're like, well, if it's a Sunday afternoon, we're all depressed. Like no one showed up. Everyone's like, hey, let's go watch the Masters.
Right?
Uh, I mean, to be fair, there are some silver linings. The Penguins' shooting percentage is like 3.7% so far, which is absolutely abysmal and unsustainable. Robin Lehner has played out of his mind. I mean, we think the Penguins have played really bad, which they have, but they also have created the third most high danger chances of any playoff team.
No, I mean,
But they've also given up by far the most.
right now I'm not saying the Penguins really played bad because if game one's different, this is a whole different story. We're talking completely different. We're talking about, hey, all they have to do is get back in it by winning game four. But the problem is when you're down 3 games now, you have to be flawless for 4 straight games now. I don't see the Penguins being flawless at all. Just because of how they played the regular season, they've shown that they can't sustain a flawless style of play for over more than a couple games. And 4 straight games, the way they've played all year, I just don't see it happening. In my opinion, I think they are done. But they got to take it one game at a time and see what happens. Um, I mean, do you have anything that you think that could help them out, or do you think they're pretty much nailing the coffin?
I mean,
As well?
maybe they should go and binge watch their 16 and 17 playoff runs. I mean,
Right?
because those decors, especially the 17, D wasn't what like doesn't have no Latang. Ron Hainsey was a top pairing defenseman, uh, and yet they weren't being nearly as stupid. I mean, I just still miss Ian Cole so much. Like I miss that no nonsense, like strong, smart player. Like that's so disrespected to like a guy like Goodbranson who's done honestly better than anyone could have imagined when we got him. But like, man, they're missing that Ian Cole. I mean, God,
Right?
I can't overstate that enough. How much I miss Ian Cole.
Well, let's talk about one moment in game two. What the fuck was Johnson doing? Jack Johnson, when he comes out of the box and runs over 2 Islanders, takes an interference penalty, and then tries to pretend like he's like, what did I do? Like he ran out like a dog trying to chase after the mailman and just ran over everything in his way just to get back to the bench. Like, what the fuck was that? I mean, what are your thoughts on? Did you see that play? And what did you think there? That was weird.
I get so depressed. These games have made me so depressed where it's like I almost want this to be over. I don't want the season to be over, but like they've got me so down because just bonehead plays like that, and it's just like watching how bad the defensive consistent guys, even like Dumoulin hasn't been great. He's done like nice things. Like I there was a time in game one, him and Pedersen had some nice plays, but then also like Dumoulin made a mistake that like directly led to a goal. Now I will say I don't like to make excuses, but they're playing at Nassau Coliseum, which has the like worst ice
No, yeah, the ice has
ever.
been bad.
It literally is like they're playing on a fucking pond, like
Yeah.
on boots. Like, cause you just watch. It's like watching little kids that don't know how to skate. It's like watching me try to skate.
Right.
They just fall down. Everyone
Right.
just falling down the whole time.
And that plays in the Islanders' favor. I mean,
'Cause they know it.
not to make excuses,
Right.
but if that levels the playing field from skill.
and their
versus
glass,
fucking grinding.
like taking weird bounces
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I mean, it's weird that we're have a professional sport where we have to discuss the quality of an arena
Sure.
in 2019.
Well, to be fair though, Consol Energy Center, now PPBJ Paints Arena, had some issues with ice at times too. And Mellon,
Right.
is
Yeah.
known for great. But yeah, I mean, I agree. For the playoffs, though, you should have pretty solid ice to be playing with.
That's no excuse. That's really. I mean, that.
No, it's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Penguins are done though. I really do. I don't see them being able to win 4 straight. Like I said, the consistency all year has not been there. Um, I don't blame Matt Murray for anything either. A lot of people always want to throw the goalie under the bus. I played goalie. I know what it is, to be in bad games, good games, whatever. Murray's played fine. He played just like he did in 16 and 17. It's no different. Besides, the team around him's not playing the same way. That's the biggest difference I see. I mean, you would like to see him make some of the saves that he's not making. There's some shots. I think the first goal in Game 3, I think Eberle shot high and he tried to hug the post and just left a big gap. I wish he'd be out a step further and actually just try to make a blocker save there. But that's his style of goaltending. I mean, it's a blocking style. It's not really watch the puck into your body and make the save style. It's more play the percentages. But he won 2 cups doing it. So again, I'd say Matt Murray's playing just like he did the previous 2 playoff runs. I don't see anything different really, in my opinion. Besides the team around him is not playing as good defensively. So, in my opinion, they're going to be done. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we're talking about them for a long time through this, spring here. But it's just tough for me to see them winning. Your thoughts on that?
These shows could end up being a lot shorter, a lot sooner.
Right?
Just because, I mean, I love the Pirates, but how are we going to talk about the Pirates for an hour and a half? I mean, that's the thing that I really didn't think we were going to be at this point where the Pens could get swept by the Islanders.
No, I never saw a sweep coming.
Right. But then again, no one saw Columbus being up 3-0 on Tampa.
Right.
I mean, I highly doubt Tampa lost 3 games in a row all year.
No, there's no way they could have, I don't think.
Right.
How many losses they had? They only had like 14 losses. I doubt it. But Andrew, do you have any more thoughts on the Penguins, or do you want to kind of just go over a little recap here of the NHL playoffs quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much got all of our... I mean, I could sit here and bitch for however long we want to sit here, but it ain't going to do us any good.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, the series could be different if they win Game 1, so I can't really be as mad as what I want to be about where they're at. It's just good luck from now. Good luck going forward if you want to get back in it. Let's cover the NHL, the rest of the playoffs, though. Like you said, the big series, the other surprise, major surprise. Columbus finds themselves up 3-0 on Tampa. My only thoughts on that so far is the fact that Tampa came in as the cocky hotshot kids, and they were going to take it up 3-0, and next thing you know, Columbus comes back, climbs in that Game 1, ties it up, and then wins it late 4-3. And I don't think Tampa's recovered from that punch in the face. I mean, Mike Tyson's always said it, you got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. Well, Tampa got punched in the mouth, and they have no idea how to recover from it. I think they're dazed and confused, and I don't see any way possible that they win 4 straight games against Columbus. I mean, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much already said it. It's going to be more embarrassing for them if they lose than, even more than if we lose, get swept. If you seriously have a record-breaking season and get swept in the first round, there's literally no point to what you did all year.
Yeah.
I mean, Kucherov had this like amazing year where he was putting up ridiculous numbers that Crosby's only had around that many points once.
Right.
And there's not many guys in this recent era that have put up 128 points.
No, that's unbelievable regular season. Yeah,
and he just lost his mind. Whatever we were talking about in our preview, how I think Zach might have said Kucherov as his Conn Smythe, he might literally be the opposite, the least valuable player in the playoffs.
Right.
If they get swept, because you're taking your best player, and not only did he take a really stupid penalty in Game 2, but he literally got suspended for Game 3.
Sure.
I mean, could you mind if Crosby did that?
No, it'd be...
I already am not really happy with the way Crosby's played. Well, they haven't finished.
Right.
And there was, of course, the Gensel passed that puck off to Simone.
Sure.
On that odd man rush instead of shooting it, and that was kind of like the trademark. This is what this series has been. Right. Passing up the shot, bad pass. Of course, Simone isn't going to finish it. He puts it in his skates.
Right.
I mean, it's
if
just
Simone's
shit
on
all
the top
around.
line, in Game 4, again, they might as well throw in the white towel. That's just my opinion. But yeah, Tampa Bay is an ugly situation. But then we'll move on to Boston. Toronto, they find themselves 1-1. The only thing I got to say is must-watch TV. This series is awesome. They hit the hell out of each other. Jake Muzzin killed Krug. Krug came down.
He's like 5 foot tall.
He is 5 foot tall, and Muzzin, though, just destroyed him. Kadri's running around like an idiot trying to kill people. It's a great series. That's all I got to say about it. It's 1-1. Hopefully it goes 7. Hopefully Game 7 goes overtime. Do you have anything to say on Boston, Toronto?
Nope. Other than go Leafs, just because I'll always hate the Bruins.
Okay, let's move on now. Washington, Carolina. Washington is up 2-0, and I wouldn't be surprised if this only goes 4 games. Carolina's little engine that could momentum, I think, is coming to an end. So I think I would not be surprised at all. Washington wins this one in 4.
Yeah, like I said,
different.
Like I said in the preview, the kind of the reward for this season for the bunch of jerks was getting there. They're a year or 2 away. Caps are just too strong. Caps actually are living up to their expectations. I thought if any team would come out flat the year after winning the cup or like blow it after winning the cup, it'd be the Caps. But they're proving me wrong.
No, the Caps look good. If the Penguins do come back and win 4 straight, I still don't know if they can touch the Caps, in my opinion.
I mean, obviously we're just grasping at straws, but they don't have a fucking shot at hell beating any other team in the playoffs right now.
Right.
The way they're playing. So.
True. Then we'll move over to the West. Nashville, Dallas find themselves tied 1-1, but a very competitive series. I don't really have much to add to that. Do you have anything to add?
No. Like I said, I think that series is going to go longer than people think.
Nice. And then we have St. Louis and Winnipeg. St. Louis actually finds themselves up 2-1. I'm a little surprised by that. I thought Winnipeg would be a little bit better, but they did kind of beat up on Binnington the last game, so maybe they found something. Your thoughts?
So St. Louis kind of went into Winnipeg and literally had the perfect recipe to win on the road in the playoffs. They had great goaltending. They took their chances. It's all a cliche. I mean, it's funny when you watch like NHL Tonight or something like that. It's literally all cliche. They all say the same things. Well, you got to have great goaltending. You got to have great special teams. You got to be able to kill the penalties. You got to be able to score on the power play.
Sure.
I mean, but they did. Like the recipe for winning on the road, I guess, is great goaltending. I mean, you got to capitalize on your chances. Ideally, I think you score early, get the crowd out of it, suck the air out of the building. Which kind of, just as a quick note back on Game 1 of the Penn series, I really thought after there was that disallowed goal, it kind of took the air out of the building for a second, and I thought, okay.
The Kudak one that got
back. Right. I thought, okay, we're going to be good now. Like, this was a wake-up call, and then 30 seconds later, they fucking scored anyway.
Yep.
I mean, Kessel came right back down and scored, but still,
it energized, woke up the building.
I just don't think this team has the mentality.
Sure. Also in the West, then, we'll move on. Colorado and Calgary are tied 1-1. I watched a little bit of that one the other night. It seems like it's going to be a pretty competitive series. Colorado is actually playing a pretty high level, and Calgary is answering that they are a pretty legit top West team. So I can see that one going pretty far. Do you have any thoughts on Calgary and Colorado?
No, other than I have to make sure. Those are late games for me, man. I got to be in bed. It's tough, these 10 o'clock games.
I know, I might catch like a first period of each one.
Right.
Here and there, second. But yeah, going all 3 is tough. And then Vegas, San Jose. It's been a great series, and Vegas actually now has come back and won the last 2 games, and they find themselves up 2-1 on San Jose. But I still can see this one going 7 easy, and I actually still, can see San Jose winning it. You have any thoughts on Vegas?
I think it's been everything that everyone wanted it to be. I think Game 2 had 6 goals in the first period,
something like that. Yeah.
And last night, Sunday night, Vegas scores like 10 seconds into the game, right off the opening faceoff. Dude splits the D, backhands it, top shelf on Martin Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, I really forgot to stress on this more that, I mean, I did this in our preview episode, but Martin Jones is really bad this year.
Yeah, no, he hasn't played good.
So maybe we jumped the gun, crowning the Sharks for you and I as our cup champs.
I mean, I just thought with their roster, they wouldn't have to rely on Jones.
Right, but he has been bad.
Yeah.
He got pulled. He got pulled after 3 goals in Game 2. Oh, he's struggling.
No, but maybe that starts a wake up call too. We'll see going forward. On the docket, then, one thing I will say: the Penguins do play the Islanders Tuesday at 7:30. For the rest of the playoff series, we're not going to really go over much just because we're going to focus hard on the Penguins. So that's Tuesday, 7:30. Lives are on the line. We'll see what happens. They got to come out flying, obviously. But I think that's pretty much all we need to touch on the NHL at this point. Penguins obviously need a lot of help. But let's move on to a team that's actually been pleasantly surprising, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They find themselves, like I said, 8-6 right now?
Yes, 8-6.
It's very good. Melky Cabrera still hitting, I think, 397 right now at this point, something like that. And, they're getting a lot of good offense from guys you probably wouldn't expect. What are your thoughts, Andrew? You're going to know more about the Pirates right now than I am. I haven't been able to watch a whole lot with being away on travel over the weekend. Go ahead and give us some thoughts on the Pirates.
So, pretty much, I think we're still at just advancing the status quo. The starting pitching is phenomenal. Their ERA is under 2 as the starting pitching.
No, starting pitching's been phenomenal.
The bullpen's still not good. Outside of pretty much Vasquez, Kella has really been struggling. Rodriguez blew another game for him. How long of a rope do you give a guy that literally lost you 3 games already this year?
Sure.
Out of the first 14. Melky Cabrera has been unreal.
I think their offense has been pleasantly surprising.
I think yes and no. I think there's bright spots in the lineup, but I think this team, Marte hasn't played well, which
yeah, I guess I got to elaborate.
Right.
It's been pleasantly surprising on guys you wouldn't expect.
Right. Your usual suspects haven't been good, but honestly,
Correct.
In a lot of baseball this year, a lot of the top end guys haven't been doing well so far this year. I think Nolan Arenado, who's probably one of the top 3 overall players in baseball. I feel like I can say that pretty comfortably. Just finally hit his first home run yesterday.
Sure.
A lot of guys are struggling right now, but they need to get guys healthy. We already have the freaking Dan Bilesman injury bug on the Pirates now.
Right.
Jordan Lyles was hurt again. I don't know how that happened. But the starting pitching, I know people were bitching about how we gave up Meadows and Glasnow for Archer, and both of those guys are doing really well in Tampa Bay.
Sure.
But Archer is just a guy you want on your team.
Right.
Archer just has that energy. You want that guy to go out there and dominate, and that guy wants to dominate for this city.
Sure.
He's only been a Pittsburgher for 8 months, whatever it is, and it's already he's a diehard Pittsburgh guy.
Right.
And I just love the energy he brings, and I love when guys play the game with passion.
Sure.
I always feel
contagious.
I always feel like baseball has this. It most definitely has this unwritten rule that you don't celebrate, you don't make a big deal out of things because you disrespect the tradition of the game. Well, it's 2019, and
there's Fortnite dances everywhere.
Exactly.
Right,
Baseball has to adapt. They're already trying to adapt the rules for pace of play to make the game faster. We need to be able to allow the celebrations, football's loosened up, things like that. Now to go a bit on Archer, where he got suspended because he threw at a guy for pimping a home run, especially when the guy's not exactly a lifetime power hitter, Derek Dietrich, and then he buzzes one past him.
So let's talk about celebrating. We'll elaborate on that because I actually think it's a good thing to elaborate on. Let's talk about a week before that, Bryce Harper hits a home run in DC, does a bat flip. In my opinion, that's in the moment, crowd's going nuts. I 100% think that should never be punished by a pitcher or anything. That's a moment. It happens. It's awesome. The next time he's at the bat, I don't think he should get thrown at. But when you're in a team that's 1-7, you're up to bat in the second inning, I think it was.
Right.
You hit a 2-run home run tops to put you up by just 1 on a 1-7 team.
Right.
Against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Pittsburgh, and you stare it down like you just won the biggest game of your life. Like,
Right.
it was the greatest home run of all time.
It took like 30 to 40 seconds around the bases. Like,
what is wrong with you?
I mean,
like, you deserve to get punched for that.
Yeah, the thing is, I think he has the right to do that.
But that's situational.
But situationally, that's pretty stupid, and you have to know the repercussions for doing these things. That's like, the whole issue is just, it's not the problem. I think that, like, the Reds manager comes out, throws a fit.
He acted like a fucking idiot.
He was a little bitch, because I think he was just pissed because Archer threw at his guy, and the umpire pretty much nipped it right there and said, all right, warning both sides. Anyone else does anything, they're gone.
Right.
So I think he's pissed because he wanted to throw at Archer when he came up to bat.
Gotcha.
So I believe that's what it is. And he's trying to spark. His team's fucking awful.
Right.
So he's trying to, like,
sure.
Yasiel Puig, like, fucking took some roids.
Yeah.
And
so, yeah, then all of a sudden Puig just turns into, like you said, a roid rager, and sees his manager going off and flies out like an idiot and causes even more of a stir. That's the thing that kind of bothered me about Archer getting any suspension out of it, was the fact that, so he threw behind a guy, didn't get warned yet.
Right.
And the Reds acted like idiots, and he really didn't.
Right. And he didn't have a part in the altercation.
Right.
Afterwards. They, like, kept him away, and he gets suspended.
Yeah, it bothered me that he got suspended, to be honest.
And he wasn't even, like, ejected from that game or anything.
Right. Like, I didn't see anything that warned him to get a suspension there.
Right.
But, hey, so be it. They want to put an end to that kind of stuff, I guess, and that's fine. But, like you said, baseball should adapt to more things that are popular. I do like, the whole, when a player gets on second base, trying to pay attention to what their dance is going to be or something, because, it is fun. The games are supposed to be fun. It's a professional sport, I get that, but at the end of the day, it's still supposed to be fun. And I do wish they would add a little bit more excitement to the games. It's kind of like, I understand Pitt unveiling their new jerseys over the weekend and going back to the older colors with a new style, because people grew up and there were Pittsburgh fans actually for Pitt.
Are you sure of this?
Yeah, it happened a couple years ago. They were kind of decent at sports. So I get it that people, you reinvigorate a fan base and stuff with these, and now in college sports, the thing is the poppy colors. And I think, baseball, like you said, they need to find what's popular, and let it actually happen. Emphasize on allowing guys to do a little bit more, try to make the game a little more hip and attract a younger crowd.
Well, right. I mean, here's an interesting thing. I saw something they were talking about how baseball has its lowest percentage of African Americans that it's had in a long time. And I think that's not a African American problem as much as it is a baseball problem. What is attractive about baseball anymore? I love baseball, but if I'm honest with you, when people tell me baseball is boring, I'm like, I can't really disagree with you.
It's hard to argue.
It's just, I grew up playing it. I love the game, but it is kind of boring.
Right.
If you're not in love with it, it's boring.
No, I was watching even the World Series last year at times. I would turn it on and their camera's just like showing like a guy chewing bubble gum in the dugout. And then like they're trying to heighten the moment, but they were making it worse. They're like showing an owner in the crowd standing there nervous or something and stuff. Like, I don't know, just they weren't connecting with me to keep it on for long. I would turn it on and I'd be interested to watch, and it seemed like it took forever. And one thing they do got to cut out though is, why do professional batters need the routines? Like, I get it when Dickerson was doing it the one game and he had the long pitch count and they ended up still losing early in the season. I think it was against Cincinnati. They were trying to do, or maybe it was St. Louis, they were trying to do a comeback. And he kept backing off and doing his full routine to kind of get the pitcher pissed because the pitcher wanted to throw. So I do get there's a part of that can be a strategy, but at the same time, it shouldn't take 5 minutes between each pitch. They need to almost implement some kind of pitch count.
Right. Or like have a rule
thing, like where, hey, look, when the pitcher pitches, he has this much time to pitch the next one. If you're not in the batter's box and ready, that's on you at this point. Right. Like, they need to almost put like a shot clock or a play clock that
right, which is obviously being discussed, and it's going to be there in the future.
I think they need it.
I agree, and they need to implement the freaking Little League baseball rule. You always got to keep 1 foot in the box. Like, don't these guys, unless there's a reason for you to be out of the box. I'm sorry, you're a grown ass man. You don't need to adjust your gloves every 2 seconds.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I get it if you have your one routine when you first get in the box.
Right.
Once you get in that box and pitches are coming, you should already be in now. You should be ready to go. Like, why are we readjusting? Your gloves didn't get any looser because you swung or didn't swing. You don't need to tap 6 things with your bat.
Does Sidney Crosby have to retape his stick every time he shoots the puck? He's
Right.
like, hold up, guys. Got to skate over to the bench, retape my stick.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would make something to make the game slightly more attractive. And I still think they need to restructure to add more teams to be playoff competitive towards the end of the year. Extend either the playoffs or cut the season a little shorter and add a couple more teams in contention. I think would make baseball way more attractive.
You want to have this market, especially for television reasons. If you're only having 6 teams or whatever in the playoffs, or 5, I guess, on each side out of 30 teams, you're not getting. I guess my example is like growing up, Pirates fans. Basically, once we hit June, July, we're like, well, we're done with baseball. It's time for Steelers. It's time for football.
And like, to be fair, it's because Major League Baseball doesn't give you much of a reason to want to follow any further. Because mathematically, the Pirates typically, through the last 30 years, have been out of any kind of real contention. I mean, sometimes even when they're in contention, they're not going to make it.
And honestly, baseball is honestly more impressive. Like the team with the best record, it's more impressive to do that than win the World Series. I know it's weird to say that. Where it's like the exact opposite of the Stanley Cup, where no one gives a shit about the President's Trophy, although we try to pretend like it's a thing. That's like a soccer thing anyway. That like came from soccer anyway. I don't really know why it got into hockey, because that was like a soccer thing. Must be a Canadian thing.
Well, I think they just one season were like, hey, we have the most points and we got nothing for it. So someone's like, here, we'll call it the President's Trophy, and you'll raise a banner at the beginning of your next season saying you were the President's winner.
Right.
Great. Cool.
But
whatever. Acknowledge it.
But like these teams that, win like 100 games or whatever, to me that's more impressive than winning at least 11 games.
Yeah.
Either 11 or 12 games based on if you're a wild card team or not.
Sure.
To win the World Series.
But also, isn't it kind of backwards, though, whenever you think about some teams like the Pirates a few years ago and you are winning?
That's my point. Where like where they won 98, where you win, they win 98 and have to play one game wild card game. And that's why I think it was, why I'm saying I'm saying it's more impressive because it's the only thing that keeps me going. Like they won 98 games that year, so I can really take that to the bank.
Sure.
And they lost one playoff game that year.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, in my opinion, disappointing that baseball, there's a couple things I think that they could really hone in on to make it even better and more enjoyable. I mean, baseball is one of those weird sports where it's got the stats and everything, so it's cool because you can throw out a lot of numbers and stuff, but in terms of actual gameplay, it could be a little bit better and quicker and more to the point. Do you have anything else to add on the Pirates, though? Do you want to look at maybe their upcoming schedule here? I think they got back-to-back with the Tigers for a little 2-game series.
Tuesday and Wednesday, they're in Detroit to take on former Pirates Jordy Mercer and Josh Harrison. Never thought I'd say I'd miss them. Kind of miss them a little bit.
Right.
They come home this weekend for a series against the Giants, which the Giants shouldn't be good. They should be able to take 2 or 3 out of that series, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's baseball. It's going to be long. It's going to be fun. We're going to keep bringing you, more up-to-dates on the Pirates, what we think, where they're headed. Let's go Tiger! That's what I did. That's what I did all weekend long, by the way. Just so you know, we're down in Virginia on the golf trip and just randomly walk around and go, let's go Tiger!
Oh, you're not that get in the hole guy?
No, it's more, let's go Tiger!
All right.
We already know he's in the hole. He's in everyone's hole.
Damn Waffle House waitresses, man. They were waiting for him.
There's like 6 porn stars right now. Phone numbers are on.
He's has no hair anymore. He looks kind of rough, but you're like, that's fucking Tiger Woods,
Tiger
man.
Woods.
He's the GOAT.
Tiger Woods. He can do whatever he wants.
Right.
So let's talk about it. The Masters were over the weekend. I said last week something to watch, and I think it lived up to the billing to a T. It from the start to the finish. Names were at the top of the leaderboard. Tiger Woods was hanging around the top of the leaderboard. Got himself within was it 2 strokes? Yeah, 11 under.
Mm-hmm.
Molinari is at 13 under. A lot of guys at 11 under and 10 under heading into the final Sunday. And boy, did Sunday live up to the expectations. I was on the road listening to the whole thing on radio. We actually listened to it over the Penguins game. Unbelievable drama, even just listening. Like we were on the edge of our seats,
Mm-hmm.
in the car, getting excited. Goes, Tiger! So it was awesome. Tiger Woods, he bogeyed 4 and 5, I think, right after coming off of a birdie on 3.
I believe so. I believe that's right.
And I thought it was done, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. I thought his run was done. I didn't think that Molinari was going to win, but I didn't think there was any chance he could recover. It just seemed like that knocked the wind out of his sails. Molinari was still scrambling at that point to stay ahead. But then Tiger finds himself back in the hunt. I think he climbed back to, was it 12 under at one point, or was he 11 under going in? He got back to 11 under, and then that's when Molinari finally had to blow up on the par 5. Was it 13? I can't remember which hole the par 5 is on that one right now. But anyway, he is stuck in a situation where, honestly, I was confused at the shot selection that he chose, because he was only like kind of a little pitch away, and he hit like a flop pitch. And I get it; it was a small landing zone he was trying to land at, but man, there's trees above you and everything. All you have to do is kind of just pitch it over. Nothing's hurt.
Right.
Even if Tiger wasn't in given eagle like potential, he was going to just birdie at best at that point. So just chip it over and try to settle a par. And I was confused at his shot selection, to be honest, and he didn't really rattle himself. But that gave Tiger the situation to kind of take over the lead, climbed the whole way to 14 under, then almost gave it away on 18. It was a little nerve-wracking when he choked his approach shot. It kind of looked like an approach shot I would do. It lands short by 15 yards over to the right, and I'm like, what the hell? But he recovered and actually, finished it. Luckily, Koepka got himself to 12 under, and for 13 under birdie putt on 18, actually just skinnied it by on the left, and that would have actually put them in a playoff. So, like I said, Dustin Johnson, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, Francisco Molinari, Brooks Koepka, and even Fowler and other guys in contention. So it's very impressive that Tiger pulls it off with that. My biggest thoughts are, I never thought I'd see a day that Tiger Woods would win a major again, to be honest. If you would have told me 2 years ago Tiger Woods would win a major again, I said you're full of shit, because his back's too broken. There's no way. His body's broken down. Mental game is one thing, but I just thought even his body was never going to be able to play the same level that he was once at, with all those back surgeries, back fusion surgeries. So for me, personally, it was such a huge, just exciting moment, because this is a guy, I would not be out golfing today if it wasn't for Tiger Woods. Yeah. I golf today because Tiger Woods made golf cool. Right. Tiger Woods made golf what it is today. Right. That's why half the guys that I mentioned there were growing up playing golf probably because of Tiger Woods. Oh, guaranteed. And now they're in the Masters against them. Tiger Woods growing up just made golf legit. Mm-hmm. And to see a guy come back, not even through the infidelities and stuff, like that's one thing, put aside. Right. But just the way he's tried to fight back, and then injuries would happen, and then just seemed like he just never could get his life even together. So not only am I happy for Tiger to win again for my own benefit, but I am happy to see a guy recover, it seems like, in his whole personal life, his whole health, and everything. He seems like he's on a much better path. I actually just read an article today that even his ex-wife and him get along well enough to be able to, provide equal parenting for for his children, which, in my opinions, I grew up with divorced parents. Same. You did as well. My family's divorced, but I never once questioned that my mom and dad were there for me. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a huge thing to read. That was my most probably proud thing to read amongst all the stuff about Tiger Woods, was the fact that his children do have parents that they know equally are there for them. What were your thoughts on the weekend? That's tremendous. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on Tiger.
I watched a lot of golf. I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched a lot of golf since probably. I usually try to watch the Ryder Cup. I think the Ryder Cup is the best event, one of the best events in sports. It's seeing that team camaraderie at a golf event is really cool. but there to me, Tiger Woods makes golf enjoyable.
Sure.
Like just exactly like you said. Like growing up, like when I was a little kid, you know, I would never have watched golf. Why would I want to watch a bunch of old white guys
Right.
play golf? Like I know it's not a race thing, but I guess somehow it is just because he made it cool. Like I don't know how else to talk about it. He like just like how you said, he made golf cool. He would go out there.
He had some it factor.
Right. He was badass. He comes out, literally whips everyone's ass, comes out, wears red on Sundays. It's like a shark. Right. The fist pumps, the yelling, like he's doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing then, but I think golf is so glad he did it now because the PGA is so much better off for Tiger showing that emotion and passion. And this past weekend, it's almost like he's not as emotional on the course as he used to be, but watching him, like, man, to be honest with you, this final round, I don't even think he played that well. He didn't hit that many fairways. A lot of his stuff, he ended up, in the rough, in the trees. His recovery, though, I think that was the difference. Like, his recoveries were all amazing. He never put himself in a situation where he couldn't get a par out of it. And he made birdies when he had to, and where like I personally was a little worried about Molinari early on in round 4. I thought, man, this guy literally like he would go to make a mistake and make a perfect recovery shot. You're just like, there's no way Tiger can overcome this guy. And like Finau, with the way he was playing, his round 3 was just unreal.
Right.
And I was watching Schauffele, like the shots he was making too. I was thinking, dude, this dude's coming for him. There was like that Patrick Candelet.
Yeah.
At one point, he was threatening. Koepka got hot. Mm-hmm. DJ got hot, and I thought, man, I thought Tiger's not gonna be able to do this. And then all of a sudden, when he hit 13-14, he was in the lead, and I thought, holy shit, here we go. Like,
right,
it's his. Like, it just reminded me of freaking Happy Gilmore when he said,
right.
Shooter's gonna choke.
Right. I said that in the car ride on the way home. I said, there's got to be someone yelling out, "Don't worry, Tiger. Green Jacket's yours. Molinari's gonna choke." No, I thought that too was great.
I mean, I literally fist pumped whenever Tiger made that bogey putt, which he wanted that par putt so bad there on 18, and I thought it was in.
Right, and the funny part is, like, Koepka even talked about it. His broke left really hard, but it must have been just there's that angle where you got to hit that fine line for it to stay right or to go a tad left, and he just barely missed that tad line on that one.
Those greens, oh boy, just watching those greens, they're unforgiving.
Yeah, there's times where like we were watching and like someone just taps one.
Yeah,
and you're thinking like, dude, that's not even gonna come close to the hole, and it blows over
yeah.
by like 3 feet still, and you're like, holy.
And it's
shit.
like you don't like those ones where they're literally having to loop back around. They're aimed completely the other direction. They tap it, and if you're not in, you're going 10 feet past.
Yeah,
and you're hoping to make your next shot. You're pretty much hoping for bogey at that point.
Right.
Ugh.
No, those courses are unbelievable.
Also, though, Augusta National is like the image of like beauty in my head.
Absolutely.
When you like think about beauty in life, that golf course is just gorgeous.
Absolutely.
There's nothing like it.
No, I mean, scary part is this year Tiger Woods will be trying to look to track down Nicklaus's record of 18 majors. And I think his window is short. Mm-hmm. He's 43. He's probably going to be competitive at a high level, how many more years? 3
to 4. And there's more great
5.
guys than ever, too.
And, yeah, the field's tremendous. But on a positive note, they play at Bethpage Black for the PGA Championship, May 16th to the 19th. He has won there back in, I think, 2000. No, 2002 he won there. And then they play at Pebble Beach for the U.S. Open.
Oh, man, that's Tiger's stomping ground.
So June 13th to 16th is U.S. Open. He's won at Pebble Beach for the U.S. Open in 2000, and I think he's won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am or whatever a couple times. So the next 2 majors are set up, And Tiger, if you look at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, he's been one of the top golfers. You know, he finished the year strong, won the PGA. I think they call it like the PGA Championship, the one with the FedEx
Oh, like
Cup,
the FedEx
whatever.
Cup thing.
So he won that tournament, but didn't win the FedEx Cup. But won the tournament that you play, the championship, I guess is what they call it, the FedEx Championship round or something, whatever they call it. He wins that and played strong at the end of the year and is playing strong. So is there any reason not to think that he can't win the PGA Championship and the U.S. Open and maybe be looking to Tiger Slam going into the Open Championship? Like, is it? I think it's a very high possibility you could be looking at that, which is unbelievable to think, but I don't see anything that would, argue against that at this point. So unbelievable. Tiger Woods is back. Waffle House waitresses are getting laid. It's great. No, honestly though, great for Tiger. Like I said,
great for having him. I think this is probably the first time. Well, this is definitely the first major that he's ever had his kids there.
Right.
Because even his daughter's probably what, like 10, 11?
I looked. His kids are, I forget how old they are. They're only 2 years apart, so I'm not sure the age there.
But
I did say they were 2 years apart.
Right. But I mean, what, he hadn't won since
He hadn't won since 2008.
2008 U.S. Open.
Yeah, first major since 2008.
Yeah, 11 years.
The first master since 05.
Wow. It
doesn't seem like it's that long ago either. Growing up as a Tiger fan,
right.
all that seems like it was just yesterday. Like
right.
the flop shot in 2005 on 16. I remember watching that. And I remember like freaking out when I went in, and I'm like, that was that long ago now?
When 2005? And then like what, it beat like Rocco Mediate
with like
at
the broken
US Open when he was like
one
dying.
leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that was just yesterday. But I don't know, it's just one of those things where again, it's, remembering events and stuff, but I wasn't paying attention to golf as much when he wasn't there. So that's why it seems like it was just yesterday. Because even when Rory was winning in the 10s and 11s and the 14, and then Spieth came along, I paid attention, but it wasn't as impactful as when Tiger Woods wins. And I think that's why it seems like everything Tiger did, 10 plus years ago seems like yesterday, because it is so impactful. Because, like I said, he brings that different energy, the fist pumping, even the way he just mumbles to himself at times. You can tell he's just.
Or literally, the one time he shot, he's like, "Jesus Christ, get down, Jesus Christ!"
Right. Like you never got those sound bites from anybody
right.
else. It's always Tiger.
Right. Like you would watch like Brooks Koepka. He never even like has an expression. Right. He's just like,
and he's looks like a stud.
He does.
He's a pretty cool dude.
He's like a
he looks
monster.
like he's probably a pretty cool dude.
Right.
But like
DJ's like doing lines.
And DJ, if he had personality.
First off, the reason DJ's actually the real winner is because he has Paulina Gretzky.
Right. He wins every time.
Right.
Hands down.
Right.
Like
and
every time.
That's the end.
I love Ricky Fowler. He's a partier. He's got the flow going again. The crazy colors.
Where's the
mustache is back. He looks like a fucking douche. I love him. I love him.
He always wears the orange.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. He played pretty well too. I would like to see him get in there.
Softly, did you hear him afterwards making fun of the turtleneck?
Huh.
He said afterwards, he goes, "Yeah, it's pretty cool to see vintage Tiger back with his mock turtleneck." So I don't know what that was about. Like, dude,
right.
you're a little
right. Dude,
I don't know what
you really want to
say. Now, maybe as a joke, maybe
right? I'm sure it was
because he was also there to celebrate, which was another moment I want to talk about. How cool was that? Tiger Woods, though, old school Tiger, didn't have many fans on the tour. A lot of people. He didn't have a lot of friends.
Right.
To see all these young kids that grew up idolizing him, all celebrating with him afterwards, and they were all standing there.
Right.
From Johnson to Fowler,
right?
Schauffele, Koepka. Even Ian
Poulter
was there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just tremendous. And then let's talk about the celebration that Tiger had afterwards.
Right.
To stand there and make that putt. To be able to, after 11 years of thinking you'll never be here again, to be able to scream out, in celebration, and to turn around and look for your family and be able to just be that excited. And that's he's walking up, man. He just keeps, he's just like he's soaked in the moment.
He's slapping fans' hands. I mean,
right?
He was. Oh wow!
No, it was
great to see.
That was awesome. Like, just the Masters lived up. I don't think that might be a sporting event of the year by the end of the year.
I mean,
it might be the moment of the year.
That's the most I've been excited by a sporting event, especially golf, in a long time.
Right. I mean, I could see that at the end of the year if we're recapping top moments or something, bringing that one up and it's staying.
I guess that kind of depends on what he does the rest of the year, because if he's happens to go out and not win another master or another major, then we could be talking, yeah, that's the best. But he comes out and somehow completes the Tiger Slam.
Right.
That's the moment
Well,
of the year.
sure. Yeah, but I that's definitely going to be in conversation. Winning the Masters. Anything else to look forward to outside of NHL playoffs?
I mean, like I said, I recapped this, or I let everyone know what we've got for Pirate Baseball this week. If you're into it, the NBA playoffs are going on.
I'm sorry if you're into it. I'm not even going to pretend to.
We're not going to pretend to like the NBA. I mean, I used to be able to watch it. I used to love the NBA. It's just, I just don't have a lot of respect for the way teams are built in the NBA.
Yeah, it's not a very attractive
right
product.
I mean, it's just like, what team is all those good players going to congregate on next year?
No, hopefully, though, we have more to bring about the Penguins. Let's hope they can pull it out, win. You got to start one game at a time, one period at a time, one shift at a time. Let's hope the Penguins get back on track. Let's continue follow the Penguins. And in a month from now, we will get to probably talk about Tiger Woods again. There'll be another major, and then we'll see if there's any other sporting events coming up. I got really nothing else right now outside of the NHL playoffs and some baseball games for you to watch. Andrew, is there anything else you want to provide for this episode?
No, keep an eye out. We soon should have our other alternative podcast that may interest some of you, may not interest some of you. We plan on doing a nerd culture podcast, and you'll see that soon. And we'll keep you posted on that as well. I know not all of you will be interested in that, but for those that are, we appreciate you listening to this and that. So we'll see you soon on that as well.
Right. Yeah, we're working on the details of that. Hopefully you see it sooner than later. That's everything we got today on the Three Rivers podcast. This was episode 2. My name's Cruz Shoemaker. That's Andrew Singo.
We'll see you later, guys.
Everyone have a good night.